a really big child's pose. And then instead of, and you only do this if it feels good for your shoulders, but that's kind of the rule of thumb for all yoga. You do what feels good, you back out, and you take all the modifications if need be. So the arms are reached back, and I want you to very loosely clasp your hands. I don't want the arms pinned straight. I want them loosely clasped. It's almost like they're bent. Yeah. And once again, if that's unavailable, you just don't do that, and you just take a regular child's pose. So you'll feel your clasped hands kind of on the base of your lower back. And then open your knees even wider than you think you can tolerate it. So you can begin to get the hips to get a really nice stretch. Maria's just joining. So wide child's pose. And just take a couple breaths, like any type of breath that works for you in the practice. Obviously, we recommend Ujjayi breath. Inhalation is through the nose. Exhalation is through the nose. But you start to link that as the practice starts to heat up. So bring the forehead to the front of the mat. Drop your seat back a little bit more. Let your shoulders even go. It's amazing what we've collected throughout the course of the day. Feel the tops of the feet press into the mat. And let your energy just move the way it needs to today in this practice. So it's afternoon, our body feels different, our mind feels different. Good. Start to reach your arms forward, slide them forward to a regular child's pose, but make the arms really active now. Spread the palms a little wider, anchor the hands into the mat. Create the lift of the forearms, and then start to move slowly into your first downward facing dog. So the hands find their way to about the width of the mat, and the feet find their way pretty far back. I'm taking almost up the entire length of my mat. My feet are about hips width distance. My hands press firmly into the mat. And notice, like, do you need to bend your knees today? Maybe you need to bend them every day, but today may be different. So you just bend your knees a little bit, let your hips lift up off your shoulders, and plug all 10 fingers into the mat, but more importantly, use the padded part of your hand. Let your head go. And then pick something to focus on that's not moving, that you just begin to focus in on that meditation. So hard. Broaden across the upper shoulder blades. Feel your outer arms begin to grip in. Draw the navel more to the back of the spine, and then begin to roll forward to plank. First one of these, stack your body so it aligns nicely. Your gaze helps you out a lot. So bring your gaze just a little bit forward. And if you're just coming back from a break, know the modification, knees come down. Even if you've been practicing every single day since this thing started, you can modify. Feel the ground, zip up your inner and outer thighs. And just begin to feel. A little bit more inspiration using your breath. Your gaze moves forward, and the same action events need to happen. The broadening of the upper shoulder blades, the navel drawing in, and more weight onto your tippy toes. Hold. A few more cycles of breath. Spread your palms a little wider. Lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. They've most likely found their place now. Hands and feet are in their natural position. Roll forward again, plank. Like an ocean wave, let your body just move. Stack yourself so you're aligned nicely, bring your gaze forward. And then notice if you need to drop your knees. If you do, bend your elbows in half for the first chaturanga push-up. You can drop your knees for support. I'd rather you do that than take a sloppy one. Re-straighten your arms to a plank. Take a downward facing dog, hips press back. Roll forward again, plank position. Bend your elbows again, chaturanga. Keep your gaze just a tad forward, your weight more forward. Re-straighten your arms to a plank. Lift your right foot so it lifts just a little bit up off the floor. Good, hold. Lower the right foot, lift the left foot. We're just feeling our core here. Oh, yep. Lower the left foot, downward facing dog, hips press back. One more time, roll forward plank, just warming ourselves up in a subtle way, maybe not so subtle. Bend your elbows, chaturanga. Re-straighten your arms, plank. Lift your right foot so it just floats a little bit from the ground, your gaze stays forward. And then keeping your right foot lifted, just start to lift your hips up and back to a three-legged down dog. Try not to open your hips, just really feel the broadening of your outer arms, your hands plugging into the mat, your neck staying nice and neutral, your left leg zipping up, and your inner and outer thighs kind of hugging together as the right thigh continuously turns towards the floor. Flex your right foot a little bit more. And then point your toes, roll forward, hug your knee to your navel. Hug in a little tighter. Think knee in between shin. Broaden the upper shoulder blades. Land your right foot towards your right thumb. Come to your fingertips for a second. Drop your back knee, the legs on a nice angle. So today's practice, you're gonna turn your right foot out, think like 2 o'clock. A block is great here, so my foot just turns out to 2 o'clock. My thigh is now on an angle. A block underneath the left hand is fine. And then you begin to look right. The right arm reaches back. This may be as far as you go, or you can bend and grab your foot. Think more passive, like you don't need to go so deep. Think just a really nice long stretch. So the right thigh's turned out a little. Yeah, and if you want even more, you can roll a little bit more to the outer blade. If you don't need the block, you move the block, take the whole palm down. If you're really uber flexible, your forearm can come to the floor, depending on what you need. Few breaths. Look over your right shoulder. Let your right thigh just drop open. And you're gonna really feel this on your back left thigh too. Another big breath in. Just be in the pose, whatever it is, however deep you are. Begin to look forward. If you look back, start to slide your left hand back underneath your shoulder. Turn your right foot, let go of your back foot. Integrate your back leg. Now right here, turn your back foot onto its side. Same block can be used. Instep a foot, right hand down, left arm open. So just setting up for a B variation right here. And if you need a little less, arm can just bump up on the top of the thigh. Looks good. Back left foot is on a nice strong angle. Two shoulders can just stack on top of one another. Grip your right hip underneath you, turn up your bottom ribs, and then look up. Don't even worry about anything else except just being here for a few breaths, feeling your feet on the floor. Stay with it. And when your mind wanders off, just come back. Feel the feet press down. Zip up your inner and outer thighs. Let your arms be really powerful and pull yourself up warrior two. So when you come up warrior two, try not to bounce. Take a couple moments here to balance yourself out. Turn up the inner part of your thigh to the outside of the baby toe. Broaden your arms and your chest. I like the palms facing you with my thumbs up, but the hands can be down facing towards the ground too, whatever you prefer. Breathe. Lengthen your tailbone. Create a shape of a 90-degree angle with your front leg. Pretty powerful front right heel. Back left leg, super engaged. Side of your body zipping up. Close your eyes for a few breaths and just embrace the feeling of holding yourself up in space. Sit a little deeper. Good. If your eyes shut, open them slowly. Start to straighten out your right leg. Just take your hands to your hips. You're going to turn your right toes now so your feet are parallel the edges of the mat. Interlace your hands. Inhale the breath. Fold over your legs. Let yourself go. Bring your weight a little bit more forward. Let your head go. If the clasp hands doesn't feel good in your body, just have your hands drop directly to the floor. Good. If your head is touching the ground, take a little bit of a smaller step. So less width, a little bit tighter and closer. Bring your weight forward into the front parts of your feet, the padded parts of your toes. Lift your hips up, Bend behind the knees as much as you need. It's not about having straight hamstrings. Start to come up halfway. Hands slide to your hips. Pull yourself up the rest of the way. Keep your left leg where it is. Turn your right foot out. Legs are straight. Arms go straight. Tip my body. Triangle pose. If you're looking to use a block, just reminding you guys, block goes to the outside of the calf. Right. If you're just going arm to hand to the inside of the calf, activate and press the inside of the calf with the outside of your hand. Lift up. Hand can also rest on your shin. It's about creating a series of little triangles in our body. Strong left leg. Soften behind your right knee a little. And then look up. And just think about really opening yourself up today in this practice. Breathing, feeling your feet on the floor, and just taking each pose as it comes. A little lighter, a little freer right here. Look to the floor, circle both hands down. We're finding our way into an easy twist, kind of how we started, but the right foot is straight forward and the back knee is lifted. 10th the hand, peel the right arm open. Easy twist. You can drop your back knee down if you want less effort, or slide a block underneath your left hand, or do both. Remember, grip your right hip underneath you. Bring the weight forward into the ball of your left toes. Look to the side wall, maybe look up. Stack the two shoulders. Good. Stay with this. We're taking a bunch of little poses together here, a little different. Look down, left palm goes flat. If you want to modify, left knee will come to the floor. If not, basic side plank, Vashisthasana, just stack the body. Feel open, and if it's too much, drop your knee. Stack the two arms, look up. Flex the feet towards the nose, the toes towards the nose. Lift your hips up higher. Grip your left bicep underneath you and your tricep underneath you. Look to the floor, right hand comes down, plank, pause in your plank. Look forward an inch, bend your elbows, hold your chaturanga. Re-straighten your arms to a plank. Float the left foot, pause. Bring your gaze forward, just a little bit. Keep floating the left foot. Float the left leg up and back, three-legged down dog. Don't open the hips, guys. Feel the inner thighs working. Grip the outer arms in. Breathe into the right leg, but lift your left thigh from your hip, from your thigh bone. Draw the navel to the back of the spine. Let the head go. Point your left toes. Pull it back forward to a plank, hugging your left knee to your navel. Draw the shin in between the two biceps. Broaden more, look forward. Glide your left foot forward and through into a low lunge. Drop your back knee. Remember, we're looking for an angled back leg. Stay on your fingertips for a minute. Turn your left toes out to about 10 o'clock. Once again, if you need a block, prop something underneath you and take it this way. Left arm will begin to peel back. This may be where you stay. If you want a little bit more, bend the right heel in, grab hold of your foot. If you want even more, turn to the outer blades. We're just looking for a little bit of a different hip opener. If you don't need the block, that's fine. Just have the whole palm down or the forearm down. Looking for a little twist. May feel a little crunchy, just breathe. Start to slowly pull yourself back up. Let go of any binds that maybe you took. Turn your left toes around, come to your fingertips, fire up the back leg. Turn the right foot onto its side. Make sure you're heel to heel or heel to arch. Use that block. Instep a foot, right arm drives up. B variation from the ground up. Grip your left hip underneath you. Stack the two shoulders. Broaden the chest. And then just pause when you get to the pose so you can be in the posture and breathe. Strong right leg. Strong left heel. Strong angle of your back of your front leg. And then breathe here. How can you lighten the effort of this? So you're doing a lot, but make it feel a little effortless. 3 more breaths. Keep looking up. Anchor your feet, really feel them. Spread across your torso. Start to pull yourself up, warrior 2. Take the bounce out, warrior 2. Broaden the arms and chest. Straighten yourself out. Turn up the inner part of the thigh. Close your eyes. Allow yourself to just be present in the feeling. Spread the collarbones. Anchor the right leg. Drive the left heel into the mat. Drop down deeper and lower. The feeling of wanting to come out is a feeling that you get a lot of in this pose and in a lot of these postures. Embrace the feeling of trying to stay in. 2 more breaths. Stay in the posture, 2 more breaths. Keep your arms super engaged and straight. Open your eyes if they've drifted close. Straighten your left leg. Take your hands to your hips for a moment. Turn your left toes. Now your feet are at the angle of the mat. Good. Interlace your hands behind your back. If you could remember the grip, I never do, switch the grip. Inhale the breath, lift the chest. I got to kind of dive around my fireplace here and then fold. Important, because when you take a forward fold, you really want to make sure you're not sitting in your hamstrings, okay? You want to bring that weight forward into the balls of the feet. So for most of us, we have to bend our knees a little bit. Right, and then lift the hips, let the head go. If the bind doesn't work for you, release the hands, take them to the floor, and just let them stay down. Slowly start to pull yourself up, halfway up, hands slide to your hips, pull the rest of the way up. Turn your arms open, completely open, left foot turns out, right foot goes on an angle, left hand comes, triangle pose. Use a block. Outside of calf if you're looking for a little bit of a lift. If not, hand to the front of your shin or the back of your palm to the inside of your calf. Slide the right arm up. Sometimes you get to triangle, you need to shorten your stance. That's totally fine. Lift from the waist, anchor your feet. Fix your eyes on something. Lean back a tiny bit into the posture without backward bending. Feel your whole foot press down, not just the outer part of your foot, but your arch too. Your toe mound, press more. 2 more. Look to the floor, circle both hands down. You got to walk your left foot over to the left a little to find that easy twist. So hips width distance. Right hand stays down or to a block. Left arm pops open towards the sky. Back knee can drop too. So in this one, we don't want our thigh to wrap out. We want to hug that outer hip in and have the knee track over the ankle. Slide the 2 shoulders on top of one another. Feel the left heel, drive the right toes into the mat, and then twist from above the belly button. Look to the floor, make a seamless transition, very, very slow into side plank. Now you can modify, this is a great modification too. Top leg bends to a 90-degree angle, right leg strong and straight, 2 arms can stack. You can also drop the bottom knee, stagger the feet, slide the 2 feet on top. You can think about side plank and just skip it. Drive the left arm up, make sure the 2 hips are stacked, they're not peeling open. Spark up your toes more. The strength comes when we hold the poses. Look to the floor, left hand down plank. If your feet are together, separate them so they're hips width distance. Hold. Bend your elbows, chaturanga, pause. Drag your chest through if you're taking up dog, or cobra is another alternative. Downward facing dog, hips press back. Slide your right foot forward, integrate your legs, root to rise, high lunge. It's good because you can modify here, and if you don't want your back knee lifted, it could just be on the ground. And then check back in. Sometimes we wander. Hands come down to plank, step back, chaturanga. Pull your chest through up dog. If you're taking that, enjoy it. It's a back bend. Nice. Downward facing dog. Slide your left foot forward, integrate your legs, root to rise, high lunge. I'd like to go out and up if you have the space with your arms. Remember, you want your hip points lifted. So if you're dumping down, lift from your hip points, lengthen your tailbone, and then reach up with your arms. Hands come right down. You're set up for a nice plank. You can skip it if you're not into it, or enjoy chaturanga. Upward facing, downward facing. Be still in your downward facing dog. Look where you want to go. Step or float your feet to the top. Long spine on the inhale breath. Exhale, fold over the legs. Sit into a strong chair pose. Weight goes into your heels. Dig your heels, lift your chest. Find some peace with this posture. It's not so peaceful at times. Press all the way up towards stand. Draw your hands to prayer. Drop your arms. Stretch your arms straight up. Revisit your chair. Seat slides back. Chest lifts. Dive over bent knees. Forward fold. Come to the fingertips, long spine. Set it up here. Plant your palms. Just take 2 big steps back for this one plank. Bend your elbows in half, chaturanga. Drag your chest through an up dog. Good. Take a downward facing dog. Slide your right foot forward for a high lunge, crescent lunge. You got it. Hands come right down to plank. Bend your elbows in half, chaturanga. Drag yourself through an up dog. Nice and easy. Downward facing dog. Big step with your left foot, almost the whole length. Root to rise, high lunge. So you want to feel like you're moving kind of in slow motion. You're not throwing your body around. Right. Hands come down to plank. Chaturanga, if you're taking. Upward facing. Downward facing dog. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Look where you want to go. Step, or if you'd like, you can float feet to the top. Long spine, weight stays forward, folds over your legs. Sit again into a strong chair. Weight goes into your heels. Nice. Feel the weight in your heels, and then with that energy, press your legs up to straighten. Draw your hands to prayer. Drop your arms. You regroup each time you do this. Stretch your arms up. Revisit your chair. I find it much easier going from this direction. Dive in half over bent knees. Come to the fingertips, long spine, plant your palms, 2 big steps, or if you like, you can float chaturanga. Upward facing, downward facing, right foot forward, integrate, and then come up. So there's nothing too slow. You move at your own pace. Crescent lunge. Hands come down to a plank. Decide what you need. Chaturanga if you're taking it. Drag yourself through that up dog. Take a downward facing dog. Slide your left foot forward. Effortless movement. High lunge. Hands come down. Plank. Chaturanga. Upward facing point. Downward facing back. Be still. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Press down into your hands. Look where you want to land first and see if you can get your feet there really lightly. You can step or float. Long spine on the inhale breath. Exhale, fold. Sit again into a chair. Weight goes into your heels. Let your seat move back, your shins move back, and then press all the way up to stand. Drag your hands to prayer. One more. Stretch the arms up. Sit again, chair. Dive in half over bent knees. Come to the fingertips, long spine. Plant your palms. 2 big steps or a light chaturanga. Mine wasn't so light. Up dog. Downward facing dog. Right foot forward. High lunge, crescent lunge. So create the energy that you need. Everyone's different. Hands come down. Plank. Chaturanga. Upward facing. Downward facing. Here we go. Left foot forward, high lunge, crescent lunge. Hands come down, plank. Bend your elbows in half, chaturanga. Upward facing dog point. Downward facing dog back. 3 breaths and downward facing dog. Really find lightness here. Lift your chest. Yeah, make sure you're not pressing your chest through your body, through your thighs too much. Broaden more. Lift your hips up a little higher. Good. Lift your right leg up. Lift it up nice and high, about 3-legged downward facing dog, but don't open your hip. Yep. Point your right toes. Point them. Take your right knee, now come forward to a plank and take your right knee towards your right tricep. Just in that general direction. Broaden across the upper shoulders, plug the hands into the mat. Now very, very slowly, like you're moving through thick peanut butter, I always use that analogy, slide your right leg back and up, 3-legged down dog, but pause. Spark up your right toes, feel your inner thighs like drawing together, point your right toes, hug your knee to your navel, draw it in tight, straight in. Slide your right foot forward and through, integrate your legs, high lunge, one last time on this side. Yep. Hands come to a prayer, inhale the breath, hook the elbow and twist. Good. So look right, just by looking right, you're gonna get a little bit more space. And then see if you can look up a little bit. Try and lean back just a tiny bit. Zip up your right glute underneath you. Integrate your legs and create a little lift of your torso. If you feel like you wanna open your arms, go for it. If not, just stay here, a few breaths. Feel the weight in your right heel. Be in the moment. Look to the floor, place both hands down, pause. Don't be in such a rush. Use a block if you have one. Slide it out in front of you. We're gonna move right into a half moon, but I really want you to focus on your right foot, your right thigh, and your right hip, not turning it, not moving it, so move with control. Slide your left hand to your hip to start, spark up your left toes, yep. And then from here, you start to grow. Yeah, most of us fell because it's really hard to move from this position. Generally, our right foot wants to turn in. It's good work. Nice job. Once you get there, you work out all the stuff, all the kinks, and then take your bottom ribs, turn them up, stack the 2 arms. Few things can happen with your top arm. It can reach straight up. It can rest alongside your body. I know my mom likes this one. This is good because you really work on finding that lightness. Or you can reach back and grab your foot for the bind. So find something that works for you today. Maybe hand just stays on hip. The bottom hand, come to a tented fingertips and really work on lightness there, keeping your right foot forward. And if you fall, try again. Any variation that you took, just revisit regular Ardha, that's half moon. Look to the floor, left hand comes down, square your hips, pause. Slide your left foot to meet your right at the top. Feet are together if possible. Sit into a chair, weight goes into your heels. Slide the hands to a prayer, hook the elbow. We'll continue twisting right. Weight goes back into your heels, slide your seat back, and then look right. Open up your arms if you want more. If you're dying for like a side crow, this is a good time to do it. Maria, try out your side crow here if you want. Chaturanga like arms. Nice work, everyone. Sit a little deeper. Feel the strength of your legs. We're gonna pull around very slowly to chair. Yeah, keep your arms reaching up for me. Very slowly, you're gonna press up to stand, hugging your right knee to your navel. That's all you need to do. Flex your right foot. Flex your right foot. Drop your arms by your side body. Pause. Seems basic, but we struggle. So really feel the left foot, feel the thigh bone contract, feel the waist stay long, and fire up your right thigh. Clasp your hands if you can behind your back. If you're not into this, just keep your arms really active. Start to move slowly through a warrior three. If the balance is off, slide a block under one or both hands. Don't open your hips, just like you were in that down dog. Keep them really squared off. Very deliberate movement. Lift the chest, fire up your inner thigh. Don't open your hip. If you need more of an amended warrior three, use the blocks. Good, if your hands are bound behind you, keep them if you can. Giant step back, crescent lunge. Sweep your arms out and up. Pause. Work out the balance. So some of you look like you're a little narrow. So I might recommend you even putting your hands back down for a split second, walking your left foot a little bit to the left, and then coming back up. Right. Slide the hands to prayer. Inhale the breath. Hook the elbow and twist. So this is one in particular. If your feet are too tight on the same line of energy, it's impossible. So Kathy, play with that. Take a little bit of a wider step. Like walk your left foot a little bit over. Yeah. It's so hard to tell in these Zoom boxes. Yeah. And then lean back a little. Ah, thank you. That's great. So now integrate your back leg more. Drive into the ball of the foot. Good. Open up your arms if you want more. Just stay as you are. And then put it all out there, whatever that looks like for you today. Breathe. A few more. Grip your left hip underneath you. Look to the floor. Place both hands down. Pause. Don't be in a rush to get to the next thing. I know we want to do it. Use the block. Keep your left foot forward. Grip your outer hip in. Very slowly float. Half moon. I like the block on the highest setting, but play around with it. Right hand on your hip. Spark up your right toes. And then decide what you need. Maybe it's growing your right arm up and then looking up. Maybe you want to try the right arm. Zip it alongside your body. Tracy, this is a good one for you. You could try that. And then turn up your bottom ribs and then look off your right shoulder. Maybe you want to bend your leg and take a bind. The kick goes behind you if you're binding. You must soften behind your left knee. Define lightness right here. Release any binds or any variations that you took. Just find your way back to the basics. Look to the floor, right hand comes down, square your hips. Slide your feet together to touch. Sit one last time here, chair, not forever. Slide the hands to prayer. Inhale the breath, hook the elbow, turn left. And depending on how you have your camera turned, it actually can be helpful because you can see your alignment. You can see your knees, you can see your shins and your feet, and then really work on dropping your seat low. If you want to open up your arms, that's great. The side crow, the arms go down. You're going to work into chaturanga-like arms. And ideally, you want to rest your thigh on the front arm. Give it a little bit more juice. Dig the heels, slide the seat back. Keep the shape of your legs. Start to offer that center. Come back to center. Offer it up in the center position, chair pose. So really feeling your right leg, start to press up, hugging your left knee to your navel, flex your foot. And if you've kind of lost it, that's okay. Just stand with your right leg, lift your left thigh. Keep the toes flexed, just finding the alignment. Drop your arms. Interlace your hands if you can behind your back. Feel your right foot. So as we step back, we're gonna float first into warrior one. Not warrior one, warrior three, sorry. Warrior three, then we're gonna go to warrior one. So let's take warrior three first. See, I'm getting ahead of myself. Lift the chest, turn the left thigh so it's facing down, spark up your left toes. Broaden across the upper torso and just pick something to focus on. And then keeping the bind if possible, start to move your left foot back. Walk your right foot over. Your back foot goes on an angle. Now warrior one. Warrior one. And breaking news here, if it didn't work out for you, go to a down dog, step your right foot forward and find warrior one with your hands bound. Good. Inhale the breath. Yeah. Find the hands if you can, Nance, because we're going to go into humble. Inhale the breath. Come forward. Humble warrior. Back foot is turned enough that your thigh bone moves with you, your left ribs turn with you, and then your right hip slides back. And ideally, you are snuggling your right shoulder in there, but that doesn't work out for a lot of us. So just do your best to keep your torso coming forward, the weight in your feet, your back foot driving into the mat, and your head, let it just hang or keep it upright. Keep steering your right hip back, your right hip, your right glute, steer it back. Keep pressing your left foot more into the mat. Feel that, start to pull yourself back up. Warrior one, sweep your arms out and up. Slide your hands to your hips, straighten your right leg. Scoot your left foot in about 2 or 3 inches. Keep your hands on your hips. Right hand on hip, left arm extends up. Get real long and start to come forward about halfway. Steer your hips back and then find twisting triangle. If you don't have a block, just slide your hand to the front of your shin and use that as the block. If you do have a block, place it to the instep of your foot. Right hand comes to the flat part of your back. Start to look right. I love this posture. It's such a grounding pose. You really want to feel your legs because your legs are doing a lot of the work. So if you can get your legs to really get you grounded, the length comes from your sacrum through the crown of your head, and then you can just free your right arm up. It should happen pretty naturally. Look up towards the sky. 2 more. Now start to bring your drishti down, place your hands, step to a plank position. Move it out, chaturanga, drag yourself through an up dog. Take a downward facing dog, step your left foot forward, turn your back foot onto its side, steer your left hip back, root to rise warrior one. Drop your arms, clasp your hands behind your back, inhale the breath. Before you go, anchor your right foot, steer the right side of your body forward, and then start to come forward, humble warrior. So a lot of times people go into this pose and they end up in a warrior two. We're not in warrior two, we're in warrior one. Yeah, so your right hip starts to want to move back. We want to keep turning it forward. So less is more. Grip your left glute underneath you. Turn up your breath here. Two more. Guys look great. Press your feet down. Really feel the strength of the lower half of the body. Start to pull yourself back up. Sweep your arms out and up. Pause in warrior one. Just feel the energy move to your fingertips. Bring your hands to your hips. Straighten your left leg. Turn your right foot a little bit more forward. Right ribs forward. Left hand stays where it is. Right arm extends up big. Come forward halfway. Steer your hips back and then move into your twisting triangle. The block is great. Your back right leg is super engaged and straight. Your front leg can have a little bend in it. Hand can stay on the flat part of your back. If you want more, stretch your left arm up. Stack the 2 shoulders. Look down, take both hands down, step back, plank position. Pause and plank, pause and plank. Look forward just a tad. Bend your elbows, chaturanga. Drag yourself through that up dog. Take a downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward, drop your back knee. If you do have 2 blocks, you're gonna take them with you. Just move them to the side. So you're gonna come up to a standing position. So I could have gotten you here from a kneeling position, but this is what we're trying to create. Hopefully you can see. So you're more upright. If it doesn't feel good on your knee, you'll just wanna reach for something and pat it or roll up the mat. So this is kind of a broken down camel pose. You can use the 2 blocks. You can place them alongside the thighs. So it creates a lift. You can have your fingertips here. What we're trying to create is a back bend in our upper chest. So inhale the breath, lift the heart and the chest, look up, don't drop your neck back. Lift the upper thoracic, lengthen your tailbone. Your hips wanna move forward a little, which they need to. Anchor your right foot and start to go back. So less about depth. If you want more today, interlace your hands, clasp them, start to slide them down the back of the left thigh. Pause here. If you want more than this, bend your foot. See if I can do it today. Grab your ankle and create a back bend. Flex your foot so you can broaden your chest. Feel the right foot press into the mat. Lift and hold. So a few different options. Breathe. Let go. Take the hands down. Walk your right foot to the center. You're just going to come to a seated spine twist here. You're going to slide your foot out underneath you. Your right foot comes to the outside of the left thigh. Right hand to the flat part of your back. Hook the left elbow. Turn to the right and twist. This can be done with a straight left leg. You can also straighten the left arm and grab the front of the knee. That's the more traditional way. Make sure you're not sitting on your foot. 2 butt cheeks on the ground as you look right. Come back to center. Yeah, neutralize yourself. Now, moving on from here, your left shin is gonna come so it matches the front of your mat. Your right ankle is gonna cross over the edge of the knee. We're going into ankle to knee pose, double pigeon. The 2 shins, it's called fire log, are gonna line up on top of one another. Lift your seat, flex your feet, and then you can stretch your arms up. You might choose to come halfway down, plant the palms, or maybe you're able to get a deeper fold. Some of us need to stay really upright and just work on a strong flex and external rotation. I'm gonna hold us here for about a minute. I'll show you another alternative. If there's a lot of space between your thigh and your foot, you can take a block. This block's a little too big. That kind of creates a little support. Keep the feet really flexed though. If it's really brutal for you, just take a crisscross applesauce and fold that way, more of a Sukhasana. Now you just have to just drop in. Start to pull yourself up, unravel your legs. There's no graceful way of doing this. You can cross your ankles, you can step or float through a vinyasa. Pull yourself through an up dog. That will feel good for most of us. Downward facing dog. Stay with me, guys. We're almost done. Step your left foot forward, drop your knee. I want you more in a angled, tighter position. Grab your blocks if you know you need them for the lift. Place them like alongside your hips on the highest setting or the medium setting. Inhale your breath, take your fingertips onto the block. Really think about grounding your left leg, keeping your foot stationary. Inhale your chest up, look up. This could be the back bend. This is a great back bend. If you want to move on today, interlace your hands, let your hands slide down the back of the thigh. That's kind of the next step. Moving on, start to kick your heel up, maybe grabbing the base of the ankle. Flex the foot though. Let your foot kind of fall into your hands. Broaden your chest. So as you move that weight, make sure you're not dropping the weight into your left knee. Another big breath in. Let that go wherever you are. Place the hands down. Just scoot your left foot to the center and then slide your right knee so it lines up next to that left foot. Come down to sit. Seated spine twist. This is Ardha Matsyendrasana. Left hand at the base of your back. Right arm reaches up. You can hook the elbow and twist. You can reach down and grab the knee. It can also be taken with the front leg straight. If you feel like you're rounding, yeah, bring your hand closer to the flat part of your back. That's going to give you the length that you need. And then look over the shoulder and twist. Come back to center. You can counter stretch if that feels good for you. And then we'll find ankle to knee on this side. So your right shin now comes so it matches the front of your mat. Your left ankle is going to cross over. Two knees, two ankles, they're going to line up. Inhale the breath and then fold. So if you notice that your foot is kind of sliding off the front of the knee, right? See if you can get the ankle to come over the edge of the knee and get a strong flex. Good. External rotation. Allow yourself to be here next minute. Next minute. You can close your eyes and just be here. Good. Start to pull yourself up nice and slow. Unwind your legs. Take your feet, cross your ankles, plant your palms, step or float, Chaturanga Dandasana. This is it, guys. Pull yourself through an up dog. Take a downward facing dog. And then here in your down dog, just drop your forearms down for dolphin pose. Spread your palms. Let your head be soft. So it's not headstand. Your head isn't resting on the mat. You want your outer arms to grip in. Tighten up the stance here. Float your right leg up and back, three-legged dolphin pose. If you want to go upside down, now would be the time. Go up safely. Forearm stand, handstand, headstand, nose stand. If you lifted your right leg, lower your right leg. Stay with me, guys. Lift your left leg up, lift from your inner thigh. Tighten up the stance, Maria. Tighten it up. Bring your right leg closer to your right elbow. There you go. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Tighten it up. Now draw your elbows in even closer. That's where you want to be. 2 more breaths. Lower the left foot. Pause and dolphin. Pause and dolphin. Walk your feet out, forearm plank. It all comes together at the end. Forearm plank. Broaden here. Drop your knees if it's too much. If you're like, I had enough of this, just drop your knees. Look forward. Where can you broaden? Child's pose. Let your knees go wide. We were here a little while ago. Child's pose, just for a breath or two. Good. Press up onto all fours. Kick your legs out from underneath you and just lay down. Lay down on your backs. So as you lay down on your backs, bend your knees in half. Take your blocks, your bolsters, everything with you if you know you need them for back bending. Right. Get your feet flat. Fingertips should skim the backs of your heels. Lift your tailbone. If you're going to use the block, find a direction that works. I ideally try and go with the highest direction. Place it on the flat part of your back, and then bring your arms around it. Clasp the hands. Create a little cup of that upper chest. Anchor your feet. Not a good time to look around, so just stay focused. Look to the ceiling. This feels pretty good, so I'm just gonna stay here, but if you wanna go up into a full wheel, lower yourself down, reset by flipping your palms, bring your chin to your chest, take a giant breath in, and then lift yourself up. If you're just staying with the block, you can float one leg up, maybe the other leg up, and you're in more of a short, supported shoulder stand. You're up in full wheel, lengthen from your tailbone to the backs of the knees. Start to come out with control. If you're up in a supported shoulder stand, bend your legs in half, take your feet flat to the floor, lift the tailbone, let the tailbone lower down. Take your feet, guys, the width of your mat and your knees, let them knock in with your palms open. Good. And then cross your right ankle over your left thigh and feed your hands through the space. You're just gonna take ankle and knee now on your back. Use your hands around the front of the shin to kind of draw the shin. Flex your right foot and really practice a strong engagement of the thigh away from you as you draw your left leg closer to you. Good. Let go of your hands. Let your thigh, your top left thigh, right thigh go around your left thigh, and then just drop your knees over to the left and upper body of the right. So it's kind of like a little bit of an eagle leg with your legs. Your arms are in cactus. So it's a supine twist, kind of with an eagle leg. Come up slowly to center, and then we'll switch. So you just cross the left ankle over the edge of the knee. For today, grab in between the space between your thigh and grab over the right shin. Pull the shin towards you, flex your left leg and your left quadricep away from you. Lengthen your lower back. Keep your neck nice and neutral. And then let go of your bind with your hands. Just let them fall. Let the left thigh kind of wrap closer to the right thigh. Drift the seat a little to the left, move anything out of the way, and then drop the legs over to the right. If it doesn't work out, just drop the legs smoothly to the right. Come up to center, unravel yourself, and here you finally get to find your way into Shavasana. So separate your feet, let your feet turn open. Let your palms face up. If you have bolster, you're welcome to place that the long direction underneath your lower back and make this a little bit more restorative. Exhale your breath and just let yourself melt into the floor. Take a deep breath in. Take a loud, complete, loud, noisy breath out. And then arms start to reach up, grow big through the fingertips, through the arms, reach through your feet, and then hug your knees to your chest. Give them a big squeeze in. If you need more time, just ignore me, put me on mute. Rock up in your own time to a seated position, sit up really tall. Let your hands drift to a prayer, turn the fingers forward. So it appears that the world needs more energy. So we need to send that energy and good vibes out there. We can only create that on our yoga mats. Bow our heads. Have gratitude for this practice. Lift your head, open your eyes. Namaste. As always, guys, my favorite part of the day is sharing it with you. Thanks for joining me.